told you that learning one thing about how you attach in relationships could save you from years of frustration and heartache? If we taught you that one thing, would you want to learn it? That's my big question. You see, most people try to communicate better, they choose better partners, or they try to work harder on themselves. And in the end, they still end up feeling anxious, frustrated, disconnected, or even triggered. So, what we see clinically, both Priscilla and I, and we're going to get into that a little bit later, is that we see the same attachment styles repeating themselves over and over and over again. And no matter who that person's in a relationship with, it still keeps happening. It's a pattern that just keeps perpetuating. So if you've ever had this question of, why do I keep ending up here? Why do my relationships keep ending up looking the same, feeling the same? I want to encourage you to hang out with us for a little bit, because we're going to help you to answer that question. Right, Priscilla? Good. So again, tonight's not about labeling your relationships. It's not about diagnosing your relationships. Really, today's about helping you to recognize those patterns, become aware of them so that you could see the pattern and learn how to work on it. That's what we do. We help people become aware so that they can work on these things. And so tonight we're going to walk you through all the different attachment styles, and we're going to give some real life examples of how they show up in relationships. And the goal is not to fix them, it's to become aware.
Yeah.
So let me introduce this wonderful woman on the screen here. So this is Priscilla Barrios. She is one of our counselors at Selah Counseling Services, and she works on a daily basis with clients, and she deals with attachment styles all the time. So Priscilla, can you share a little bit about what you do, how you work with your clients with attachment styles?
So thank you so much. First, I'm just thankful that we can have this conversation together.
Yeah.
Attachment styles, it's one of those things that once you learn, it's hard to not see the world in that lens. So like, as a clinician who has been doing my own studying and training with attachment styles, even if the client doesn't come in saying, hey, can you please tell me attachment style? They might not have that language.
Yep.
Usually when the client comes in and says, I just want to learn more about myself, I already know attachment styles. So it's interesting because even if the client is single, like I want to make sure to say that, like, I don't want people to think that this is just about if you're in a love relationship. Like, even if they're single and they just want to learn how to bond with the world, it's really good for them to understand attachment styles. So the different types of clients I've seen, it's integrated some way, somehow, the conversation of attachment.
Yeah, I love how you said that it even if somebody's single, it helps them to bond with the world, right? Because we have all kinds of different relationships. There's both romantic and there's platonic, and we have different interactions with both. So these attachment styles are really for everybody. It's not just for somebody who's married or engaged or in a relationship. It's for everybody.
Yeah.
And so for maybe, let's say, because the word attachment, and I feel like attachment styles has become really popularized over the last like few years. And I think therapy in general since 2020 has really like hit the internet by storm. And people are self-diagnosing, people are learning all these technical terms. And I've seen attachment styles thrown around a lot on social media. But if you had to define what an attachment style was, maybe for somebody who doesn't know, how would you define what an attachment style is?
I'm visual.
So am I.
Honestly,
I love it.
What I think of is a knot. I always think of a knot. It's the way you knot to someone else. The way you tie to someone else, the way you bond to someone else. I think it was like 2022. I did a training, a CEU on attachment style, knew about it, but it was until I took that class, those courses, that I went, oh my gosh, I'll throw this phrase in there. This is what do we call it? Soul ties. This is soul ties. So for the Christian that might not like that phrase, I know there's some controversy in the phrasing of that. Is that really in the Bible? I just like to go, okay, let's not use the phrase then. Let's talk about attachment, because it's about how you tie, thinking about the knot, how you tie to your coworkers, how you tie, how you attach, how you bond to love interests, to friendships, maybe even to God, how you bond yourself to God. That's how I see it, like a knot.
Yeah, that's a great way of describing it. I actually really like that visual. And if you think of it too, knots can be really helpful in some situations and really good in some situations, or they could be horrible or bad in certain, like if you're unknotting a necklace, You don't want to be doing that right before an event. That's going to piss you off, having to
Such a great point.
unknot a necklace. But if you're tying a knot for something to hold something together, then that's helpful. That's productive. It's effective. And I like how you made the comparison, and it's almost like synonymous that you're using soul ties with different attachment styles, because the same goes for that. There's such thing as healthy soul ties. You get married to the person God's called you to, or unhealthy soul ties that you are with somebody that you really should not be with, right? Emotional, physical soul tie, spiritual soul tie, whatever the case is. So I really like that you made that that parallel, because we're about to go into these attachment styles, and I think as we go through it, everybody watching is going to be able to see which ones are healthy, which ones are not, and really where they kind of fit into those. And so for everybody that's watching now, watching live, watching later, I'll preface this because we're going to go into these attachment styles. We're going to define them, give some examples. Sorry, I just got a message from my husband that kind of distracted me for a sec. But we're going to go through these attachment styles. And as we go through it, I love that someone put a pen and pencil there, because take notes as we go through it. I want each one of you to find yourselves in one of these attachment styles, because you're in one of these. You're in one of these. And I'll also preface by saying you might not completely be in one or completely be in another. You might be in a mix of two. And Priscilla, if you could add to that, because again, I want everybody to hear from you as well. Just, any prefaces that we need before we get into them, just to get people in the right headspace.
No, I think this is already like, I was not prepared to go into soul ties, but I was like, we're gonna go there. Let's just go there. So I'm excited to see the emojis of like writing this down. Take advantage. It's here and you can replay it. So yeah.
Okay. Awesome. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna do the first one. All right. So let's get into secure attachment. So I'm gonna describe what that looks like practically, and then I'm gonna give a real life example. So secure attachment. It usually looks like being able to communicate with somebody effectively, communicate your needs, your wants, your desires. You're able to tolerate conflict and stay connected even when things feel uncomfortable. That's like the key. When things are uncomfortable, when things don't go the way that you want them to, that person who has a secure attachment could stay very level-headed, very, very neutralized throughout the whole thing, right? They're not hot, they're not cold, they're right there. An example of this, and actually before I go into the example, anything you want to add to that, Priscilla, about secure attachment?
I'm visual. You just doing that, it just makes me think of like, you know how to regulate. It's not that the secure attachment doesn't get stressed out. They don't stay there too long. Like they know how to bounce back. They could regulate. They could like communicate well. Yeah, like that. Like they know how to regulate. They could come back from something stressful.
Yeah, I think that's a big key with secure attachment. It's the bounce back. It's the ability to rebound back into that neutral state. So somebody who's secure is not somebody who doesn't feel things. It's not that they don't get angry. They don't get super, let's say even rageful at times, right? Because something can make somebody kind of rageful, but it's their ability to bounce back into a neutralized place where they're able to function, not be impulsive, not be anxious, not overthink something, but get back to a healthy place. Right. So an example of this would be, wait, was I supposed to do? Yes, I was. I was about to say, I'm like, was I supposed to do secure attachment? I was. Okay, so an example of this would be, let's say there's a wife, we'll name her Sarah. Sarah's married to her husband, and he was working, and she sends him a message. She's used to him texting her back immediately. But then all of a sudden, one day, he takes about 3 hours to respond back to her message. So Sarah, instead of getting anxious, instead of assuming, okay, he's talking to another woman, he doesn't love me anymore. Did I say something this morning? Is he angry at me? Instead of having those thoughts, she just assumes he's super busy and she moves on with her day. She goes grocery shopping and she's like, he'll text me when he texts me. That is somebody with a secure attachment. Yeah.
It's like they don't jump to scenarios. They don't jump to the worst possible thing. Oh no, it has to be that they were in a car accident. They don't catastrophize.
They don't catastrophize, right? How would you define catastrophizing to somebody who doesn't know what that is?
When you blow something out of proportion. I remember hearing a professor say it this way: if you start your sentence with "Oh my God," you're probably about to catastrophize. Like usually you can see it in the language when you're like, "Oh my God, it must be this, it must be that." It's not even what if. It's like no, it has to be that he's with another woman.
Yeah.
It has to be
Yeah.
that. You
Yep.
kind of jump to a conclusion.
That's
And
really
it's
good.
usually the worst case scenario.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And catastrophizing, and like you said, you like visuals. Catastrophizing is like setting a little tiny mini fire. A little tiny little fire. We can't say that that's harmless if it's put in the wrong place. If you put that tiny little fire in the wrong place, that is bound to catch, it's bound to get the other things around it on fire, and it's going to build and build and build. Right? So that type of reaction or response, the catastrophizing, has no place in secure attachment.
Yeah.
So if somebody does experience that, they can't consider themselves securely attached in that particular relationship. Right? Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get into the next one, since we're talking a little bit about those little fires.
Yes. So then, can I go into disorganized?
Let's do it.
Disorganized to me is I think it's one of my favorites.
Okay.
To speak to treat, because there's a little sense of confusion in the person. This is the person, if I were to draw it, I would think of them like almost like an X. Like they come in, but then they come out. They come in, they come out. They're trying to tie a knot. They tie it a little too tight, and then they loosen it and they don't want to be tight at all. There's no balance. So if like secure is here,
Yeah.
disorganized is that phrase. Disorganized, I know some people call it fearful attachment. It's just up, down. Too close or any type of closeness feels dangerous, but they want it. Withdraw and distance also feels dangerous, but they actually still kind of want it. So it's a lot of push pull. So it's interesting because you could see them get really intense and then withdraw. In my past, I've had friendships like this, and they are very draining because they could be the one in one season, they're very clingy. They want to talk all the time. Why didn't you pick up my phone calls? Why didn't you text me? And then the next few weeks, you don't hear from them at all.
Wow.
So they enter, they exit, they enter, they exit. And it's because since it's unorganized, then it also feels unpredictable.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't know if they're going to come, if they're going to go. So could you imagine a love romantic relationship like that? One day they're all in. I could see us getting married. This is amazing. God gave me all these dreams.
My gosh.
This is going to happen. I'm going to go get my dress. And then a few weeks later, it's like, who? What's your name? Who? No, we're done. It's good. But then if that person moves on and goes, okay, I guess we're done. No, you can't leave me. Because what if I want to tie up with you again later? So it's very disorganized, I think, for the person experiencing the outside of it. But I think about the person actually experiencing it internally. That has to be confusing for them. I think that's why I say this is one of my favorites, because I could see how the world could definitely stigmatize that one. Like, oh, she's just crazy. She's up and down. There's a lot of hurt with disorganized.
Wow, that's good. So tell me more about that. Tell me more about that.
What I've seen is usually disorganized breeds from their caregiver was in and out. So they're kind of used to that. That was what was modeled to them.
Yeah.
Mom was present a lot in one season and then was ghost. Maybe it was dad. It's like they didn't know how to attach to that first bond. So now they think this way to friendships, to coworkers, to jobs. Some people do that with jobs. They're all, can I go here? Some people do that with ministry. They're all in. I'm going to volunteer in everything.
Oh my goodness. Go there, go there, go there, go there.
And they're super intense, like disorganized. This is my opinion. I think they could be more intense in that season than the anxious attachment. Because they go full force, 100, and then ghost. Then it's like, wait, you signed up to be a translator or this or that. What happened? You're not here anymore. I don't feel it anymore.
Wow. Okay.
This is a little too much for me. I feel burnt out. But it's like they actually signed up for all this. So
yeah,
it's intense. It's a lot of push pull. I got a lot of empathy for them though, because it's like that was modeled somewhere to them.
Yeah, yeah. And I like that you brought that up, that it's something that was modeled, and now whether they're conscious of it or not conscious, they're mirroring some of those similar behaviors. And all of these attachment styles, for those of you who are watching, really at the core of it and at the root, it has to do with your nervous system and how it learned to survive, right? So if your nervous system learned to survive in a healthy way, it's going to perpetuate healthy patterns. But like disorganized attachment, if it learned to survive in an unhealthy way, there's going to be unhealthiness that comes from it.
Yeah.
And I do have a question about disorganized attachment. Would you say that there is such thing as love bombing? So for those of you who don't know what love bombing is, love bombing is somebody who comes on real strong, like heavy, like, oh, you're the best. I love you so much. You're so great. I love spending time with you. This is the best relationship I've ever had. It's just like literally a love bomb, right? But then those people pull away. So it's a quick drop of emotions and then they pull.
Yes.
Oh, actually, it's so funny. My husband just asked the same question.
Yeah.
Because as you were describing, I'm like, this sounds so much like love bombing. So, yeah, tell me about that.
This is
So the
my
connection there.
take. My take on it, because now I'm thinking like narcissism. I do believe all narcissists love bomb, but I don't think all disorganized attachment, that is their intention to love bomb, but it does come off love bomby. Does that kind of make sense? Like I because it really goes to the attachment of I'm scared. I actually really do want to love bomb. Let me change the phrase. I really do want to be this intense because I don't want you to leave. And then when the other person's like, sure, let's get into this relationship, they're like, wait, this is scary now. I'm gonna back. The narcissist, the manipulative person that does the love bombing, they're doing it for control of the other person. I think the disorganized is just trying to control themselves.
That's so good. I love that you brought up the narcissist piece. It almost sounds like the love bombing that comes from maybe like, for example, a narcissist or somebody who, I don't know. We'll use the narcissist as an example. There's a selfish intent versus the disorganized attachment doesn't sound like there's a selfish intent, more of just a dysfunction within themselves. Is that it? Would you say that that's accurate?
Absolutely. Like they just want to feel safe.
Yeah.
The narcissist wants to exploit. The narcissist is doing the love bombing because at the end of the day, they're like, I'm trying to see what I could get out of this. The disorganized, I think it's more of, in this season, this did feel safe. Going all in, being this intense did feel safe, but now I feel too close, so now I have to withdraw.
Yeah.
And then being withdrawal for a while doesn't feel safe. So it's this push-pull. I think of like the yo-yo. They're all in, they're all out. Yeah.
Yeah. A push-pull. I think that's a great way to describe it. And for those of you who are watching also, like, these attachment styles aren't permanent. Right. So they're not permanent. And I want to say it as we're getting into like the thick of it, because I don't want somebody to hear these things and say, this is just going to be the rest of my life. I'm just going to be disorganized for the rest of my life. There's no fixing this. This is why we're really getting into the thick of this. And for those of you who are watching, stick till the very end, because we're going to go into just what we're going to do with this information and how you can learn more about it. But I would say that this is something that can be relearned. These are things that through practice, through awareness, could be relearned. But again, it's good to become aware first of which category somebody fits into. Okay, so do you have another example for that one, or do you feel like that was the example you had?
I think that was it.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's go. That's a really good one. I like how you described the X, like it going like an X. That's a very good one. Okay, let's get into, Priscilla mentioned this one already, anxious attachment. So I'll describe this one. Anxious attachment. It's funny that disorganized was your favorite. I think this one's my favorite.
Oh, okay.
I think this one's my favorite because I can kind of see, like, I've experienced some of these things before, so I've had to learn about anxious attachment. So anxious attachment often shows up as feeling very connected and very afraid of losing that connection. This might look like overthinking text messages, needing reassurance, or feeling panicked when there's distance. A lot of people think this means that they're too much, but really their nervous system is trying to keep connection close. So, oh wait, that's not my favorite. Wait, hold on. Avoidant attachment is my favorite. I'm reading this. I'm like, I don't really see myself in this one. I'm so sorry. I read yours, Priscilla. I'm gonna let you take this one. Take this one because I was gonna do the next one. This, guys, just clearing the air. That one's not my favorite. It's a good one. Not my favorite.
The anxious attachment is really interesting because I think, and I would love to hear your take on this too.
Yeah.
Culturally, I think this one is glamorized.
Okay.
I think we finish each other's sentences. We're always together. Oh, your face. We're always together. We can't like worship separately. We can't be like it's this one makes me go like this because I think of clingy. If it's a knot, this is like those thick duty knots that you learn at like Boy Scouts, like those like special knots. They don't want to let you go at all. I think like looking at like younger years, this might even happen at adults, but this is the person that's like, you can't have another friend. I am
Wow.
your friend.
Yeah.
I am the gatekeeper. There's almost like they're almost territorial.
Mm.
They're
Mhm.
almost territorial.
Mhm. Mhm.
Jonathan,
You
I
said
was
your
thinking
dog.
of my dog. Oh my God, thank you, Jay. My dog, Coco.
She's
I
got anxious
mean things.
attachment.
She is.
Yeah.
Little testimony, God is doing a thing in her. We rescued her. She came from an abusive home
Uh-huh.
and sweetest dog, but my husband's the one that rescued her. Every time he walks out the door, she switches. And
Wow.
she's a pit bull, so she gets scary. And the way
The
she barks,
anxiousness.
I could see it. I'm like, this is not anger. This is anxiety. But those who
Wow.
don't know her would think she's scary. This is intimidating.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
of anxious attachment with that. The
Yeah.
person who's anxious attachment, it might look aggressive. Why didn't you call
Yeah.
me? It's because they're
Wow.
scared. There's such a fear of abandonment
Mhm.
or even
Mhm.
perceived abandonment. I've
Mhm.
always thought that was so interesting learning that it doesn't even have to be a real life abandonment, but if
Mm.
they're just perceiving abandonment or something reminds them of maybe a past abandonment,
Yeah.
they will do, I want to be careful how I say this, they will sometimes even threaten their own lives
Wow.
to say like, I got to make sure they understand how much of a distress I am. Like I've had past
Yeah.
clients tell me stories of how they have hurt themselves to try to get the message out on the other person. And
Mhm.
you don't understand it's because I love them so much. And I'm like, whoa,
Mhm.
that's anxiety. That's anxious attachment. That's the clingy. That's the codependent. Drawing this, I think of a capital A.
Mhm.
Here's like if it's a love relationship, here's the man, here's the woman. This is what connects us. As soon as something happens to the relationship, they both fall.
Wow. It
Like
collapses.
that's the I don't know what I will do without you if you leave me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
to me, talking about soul ties, that one's definitely not healthy because I feel like you just put the other person on a pedestal, on an altar,
Yeah.
where it's
Yeah.
almost like they worship the other person, even if they know the relationship is not that healthy.
Mm.
That
Mhm.
anxious attachment will cling on, and this is if I'm talking too much, tell me. But I just thought of this. I've noticed if a friend, a family member wants to say something to them, like, "Hey, I think you guys are hanging out a little too much," they
They get
will cling
defensive.
on. Yes, they get defensive and they'll cling on even harder
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because it's almost, I don't know how you feel about this, it's almost like a drug
Mhm.
when it's a
Mhm.
strong anxious attachment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this
That's
one is
really
really
good.
interesting.
And as I'm hearing you describe this, I'm thinking even just like at the root of it, because when we think anxiety, we think fear, right? So anxiety is like fear and loss of control. So
Yeah,
then they swing the pendulum
yeah,
and it becomes more about control and what they can control. I can be close to this person, and if I can't be close to this person, I freak out. I
yeah,
that's when the like the self-harm could come in,
yeah,
or the how can I get this person closer to me, how can I get them not to leave me, and it's just more fearful. But I feel like a big portion of this type of attachment style has to do with control and
yeah,
needing that control. Again, the nervous system learned how to survive in a way that was maladaptive, right? In
yeah,
a way that was not helpful, that was not healthy. And so they're learning how to control what they can in a very unhealthy way.
yeah, yeah.
That's the first thing I think of. The second thing I think of as you're describing this, and I want to actually throw this your way and see your thought, I feel like a meshment, and for those of you who don't know what a meshment is in relationships, it's, I think of it this way, again, visuals, right? It's like two separate people, healthy, should be like this. When
Yeah,
somebody's enmeshed, they become like this, meaning
yeah,
that whatever this person feels, the other person tends to feel. Whatever this person thinks, the other person thinks. If this person thinks yes and this person thinks no, they're like, well, because we're like this, I have to think yes. So it's a conjoining of two people where they don't have their individual thoughts, feelings, or anything like that. You could see a meshment in romantic relationships. You
yeah.
could see it in friendships. You could see it in you could see it in all families. I've seen families
Absolutely.
of like six people that are like all enmeshed with each
Yeah.
other, and it's really intense. And so when I hear this attachment style, all I think about is a meshment with the person that is rooted in that fear, anxiety, and desire for control. So
Yeah.
would you say that with the clients that you work with that have that anxious attachment style, that you do often see a meshment, or do you feel like that's a
Yes.
separate thing?
No, it's usually the same thing. It's they're low differentiated. Um, Usually their communication isn't the clearest. There's like
Mm-hmm.
different layers with anxious. The boundaries are usually very low.
Yeah.
Very,
Yep.
very low.
Yep.
There's the enmeshment, there's diffuse, low differentiated. They can't think for themselves.
Mm,
It's like, well, let me see what they say.
that's
Or let
such
me
a big
see.
one.
And
Such a big
again,
one.
not just in love relationships. I've been seeing a trend, even in friendships, where it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like sometimes it makes me want to ask, is there something going on here romantically?
Yeah.
Because it's so same brain. And then again, I see like in our society, it's like, well, that's just my friend. We got the same brain. And
Yep.
it's like, it
Yep.
sounds cute, but it's weird.
Yep.
You
Yep.
gotta have some type of individuality.
Yep. And I
Yeah.
feel that with this particular attachment style, if somebody's not willing to become aware that this is
Yeah.
not okay, that this is not healthy, what happens is that this person or this type of person gets really defensive if you try to touch that.
Oh,
I'm thinking of situations that we've encountered, like, you know, with clients in the past, and um clients who are typically enmeshed, and it's very obvious that they're enmeshed, or very
mhm.
obvious that they have anxious attachment style because they can't have their own thoughts or whatever the case is. The minute the counselor just says, you know, let me just poke that very gently, like let me just poke it,
Gentle.
they're like, no, that's not the case. That's not that's not what's happening. And you can't touch it with the 10-foot pole because that person's not willing to become aware that that's just not healthy. And it happens really often, you know, so they stay in that pattern. They
Yep.
stay in that kind of like funky zone, you know?
And that's where I think of like an addiction. Because
Yeah.
usually the addict is like, I could quit whenever I want. They get so
Uh-huh.
defensive. It's really not that bad.
That's right.
Um, all these justifications come out, and you're just saying, hey, can you just like, can we explore this friendship? No, they get
Good.
defensive, they get angry. So I'm glad we're talking about this because I think for
Mhm.
some people, when they think anxious, they just think like timid and scared. Not all anxiety looks like that. Sometimes it looks aggressive. Don't touch my person.
Mhm.
This is mine. Because sometimes, how do I say this? Sometimes us trying to just explore it, I think they fear, oh, you're trying to take this thing away from me.
Yeah.
Again, fear of abandonment.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're
Feels
against
like
me.
abandonment.
Yeah,
It's
we're
like
just asking questions.
even what was that?
No, I said because they might think like we're trying to like help the other person abandon them or something like that. That
That's right.
might be what they're thinking, but we're just asking questions.
I was
The
just about to
questions
say,
are threats.
yes, I was just about to say, even the healthiest of people that you could be sitting in front of that are helping you to get to a place of health, you can get defensive, or yeah, defensive towards them, of thinking like they're trying to take you from that person, right? And so what was that? Go ahead, go ahead.
Derek, because he's in my brain. I was
What do you
thinking
say?
about ministers because
Uh
you were giving different examples of like it could be in this. I was thinking about for some pastors, there's an
mm,
attack. There's an that's a whole different life. There are some pastors that they have an
yeah,
anxious attachment with their congregation. Go ahead, Jay, you too.
that's right.
And they might do the curses of if you leave me,
Yeah.
then this
Yeah.
huge catastrophic thing is going to happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
Or vice versa, you may have the congregant that is way too clingy with the minister.
That's right. That's
So
right.
it's like
Yeah.
you gotta be
Or you
careful.
could have a combination of the two,
Or
where
do.
the
Oh
minister's
boy.
anxiously attached and then the congregants anxiously attached, and they're both playing into each other. And those are the ones that need to go to therapy with you so that they can learn how to get healthy. Call Priscilla, guys. Oh my goodness, but that's so good, and it's so true. So there's so many different combinations of what this could look like.
Yeah.
And I just encourage anybody who's watching this, if you are hearing this and you're like, oh, they're kind of describing my situation, like I've been saying that with my best friend all the time, or I say that with so and so, or I feel that with my pastor or my leader or whatever the case is. Don't get defensive. Don't become aware. Don't get defensive, because again, we're not labeling, we're not diagnosing, we're just helping everybody to notice where
Yeah.
they're at, and then you work from there.
Yeah. I would say
Yeah.
clearly, if anything we said about anxious attachment made you feel mad or upset, you probably got anxious attachment.
That's right.
Don't
That's
take it,
right.
please.
If you
That's
felt it, if you felt a little bit of anger as we were giving these examples, and you're like, oh, how could they say that? You probably got it, and that's okay. That's okay.
yeah.
That's
To
okay.
help.
Yes, exactly. And last example I'm thinking of are we've had many clients like this, many clients that the counselor will be dropping wisdom in the
Yeah.
session, dropping wisdom, and the client like saying, you know, okay, this is what we need to work on, this is where we need to go, and the client will say, okay, hold on a second, I need to go talk to my leaders. Let me go run this by them. Let me go talk to my pastor. Oh, okay, that sounds like a good homework, but I just want to talk to my youth pastor real quick.
Yeah. For like approval or sometimes even permission.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's really what we're sharing is really it's okay, it's safe.
Yep.
But they have to like run they have to, I want to like highlight that.
That's
And
good.
you could see it in their face, the anxiety of like, am I okay to agree with my counselor right now?
Yep.
Oh, but I'm
Yep.
supposed to be submitted.
Yep. It's that confusion of Derek
Yeah.
said it right. He's like, but I'm supposed to be submitted. So they confuse anxious attachment with submission. Oh, we could go
Oh,
on about this for a while. They'll confuse anxious
wait,
attachment
that was
with
good.
I should write this down. Maybe we could do another live just about that.
I just have to pause. I need to give an offering because that right there, I got my holy oil. That right
Wow.
there.
Yep. Okay. So anxious
They
attachment gets
confuse.
confused with submission. So check your submission. If you are saying, oh, I'm submitting, but it's sounding like what we're describing, let's check it. Let's check it. We got to open that up. Let's check it because there's some junk in there. That's really good. That's really, really good. I'm
I
glad
love
that,
talking to you.
yeah. That's
I
why I
love
love doing these lives
it.
because stuff just comes up, you know what I mean? And I think that that's a really good link, especially for people who are in ministry, people who are in the church, to know this, because we're not, just because somebody's Christian, just because somebody's involved in ministry, because they're a minister, it doesn't mean that they're exempt from
Yeah.
experiencing some of these things. You're not. You're not exempt.
Mm-mm.
Anyway, we can go on and on about it, anxious attachment. All right, so let's get into avoidance. So going back to what I was saying before, demanded submission is not submission. It is not. Amen to that. Avoidant attachment style. This is the one. This is my favorite one. Yes,
Okay.
this is my favorite one. This is because I've seen myself in this one. So I feel like I kind of understand it just personally. All right, so avoidant attachment style. So this one often, just like the first one that you did, often gets misunderstood, and I'll tell you why. So avoidant attachment, it could look like pulling away or shutting down or needing a lot of space. For those introverts out there, I feel you. Especially when emotions run high, right? So when there's like high, intense emotional situations. And the reason why this one often gets misunderstood is because people often see a avoidant attachment style person and think that they don't care. They think that they're just like numb, or they don't care about the situation. But see, this is somebody whose nervous system learned that closeness wasn't safe. So I know you gave an example of an attachment style that closeness wasn't safe, and then what was the other one? You gave like two, that closeness wasn't safe, and that that distance.
Yeah.
Yes, it was disorganized. That closest wasn't safe, and distance wasn't.
Distance isn't safe either.
Distance isn't safe. Yes, where this one is closeness their nervous system is misinterpreting that closeness isn't safe, but distance is.
Yeah.
Right. So that now there's kind of like it's a wobbly imbalance. Like now we're talking about an imbalance, right? So an example of this would be, okay, so this is like a real life example. A husband was told by his wife that she wanted more physical intimacy, more, some more sparks. That's what she wanted. Yes, that's what she wanted. And throughout the day, she shows him a lot of physical attention. Like she comes on strong because she's desiring that from him. So what she's doing is she's putting it out, and she's putting out her little signal so that he can pick up on, what she's putting down. Mark has been working all day. He's been working extra shifts, extra hours. He is super overwhelmed from work. So he comes home, and the demands of his job are just so heavy that he's just really tired. He just wants to come home. But his wife, on the other hand, also despite the fact that she's just becoming like very like touchy-feely with him, she's become a huge complainer. Not just about that, just about everything. Like she's been complaining and she's been nagging. So now he's overwhelmed from work, overwhelmed from his nagging wife because she doesn't work, and all she does is complain about whatever. So that's all he has. So he comes home to that. And when she shows him physical attention, she does something called bristling, which is like you go like this. So she just like bristles. He bristles and he avoids eye contact, and he just emotionally shuts down. But his wife is interpreting that as him not caring or him going numb. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's so good. Great example.
Any examples that you have of that?
So you probably know this already. Gottman speaks about this, but the way he kind of touches it is when the person feels flooded. That's why they're going to avoidance.
That's good.
So it's interesting, right? So it kind of sound like, oh, so wait, so it's an anxious attachment, but they respond very differently. So when they get anxious, it's not that they cling, they withdraw. I need space. It looks like they shut down. And I get it. To the outside person, it's like I feel like I'm ignored. You're not answering me at all. You don't want to talk about this, or you're just too calm. Someone raised, I hate to claim it. Claim it.
That's me.
Claim it.
I love it.
One phrase I like to think of too is when I hear clients, marriages say, I feel like we're just roommates. I think of avoidant type of attachment. Like we do bills, we might run some errands, but there's no bonds. There's no electricity between us. I think, okay, there's some avoidance there. But again, it might not be, this is why counseling's so great, so you could explore it, but it might not be that they don't care. It might not be that they are so cold. It could be there's something internally happening there where maybe they want to get closer, but they don't know how to. They don't know how to attach.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I think the thing about avoidant attachment style too is that people could live with that attachment style for a very, very, very long time. And if they're with somebody, whether it's a friend, a family member, a partner who enables it, meaning like what that looks like would be them just kind of like staying neutral with them and just receiving it, like receiving the, not the coldness, but the distance. And they're just like, yeah, you know, like you said, roommates, we're roommates. We just do bills. We just hang out. I love him. He loves me. You know, if it could stay like that for a really long time. And that's why we have these marriages that are, you know, my favorite thing that people say is, oh, I've been married for 5 years. We've never fought once. Oh, I love when people say that. I love when people say that. I say, then what that tells me, you just expose yourself. What that tells me is that you guys don't communicate. That's what that tells me.
Blown. I was just saying this to someone the other day. I love when I hear that. And they looked at me like I was crazy. I said, you don't get it.
Yeah.
Because that means we're about to expose the elephant in the room that's been there. And I love that you're saying that, because now you make me think of like young, and this could happen to any age, but I'm thinking like that young couple, married Christian, and they think that's healthy. We never had a blow up. What are you talking about? We're perfectly fine. We never have had a disagreement. And I'm like, never?
Yeah.
Y'all are avoiding some stuff. It'll come up.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. And if the things, I also think it might not, if the case is that somebody is avoiding attachment and the person's still enabling it, then it might never come up, and they live like that for a very long time. Now they're married 40 years. We've never fought once. But I will say that that is going to be one of the most unsatisfying marriages that there's ever been in this entire existence of history. It's going to be unsatisfying because they're not living out the fullness of what God has for them in that marriage. Because ultimately, all these attachment styles are based in dysfunction, except secure attachment. They're all based in dysfunction. So if somebody's avoidant and they live their marriages like that, they're living in dysfunction, which means like you're not living in the fullness of God and what He has for your marriage. So this one's definitely one of my favorites, and I think a lot of people could see themselves in this, because there's that distance, especially our introverts, because that can get kind of confusing, because it's, I need my space, but you know, I want to be close, but I don't know how to get close. Sticklers for the term they use: fight, disagreement, argument. You want to take that one, Priscilla?
Oh, I get you. Are you saying like when what we're talking about?
Sticklers. Yes, with the marriage. If they say, "Oh, we've never fought."
I think it's good. This is why I love counseling, because you could like explore it and go, okay, define fight. What do you mean by fought? Because what we're talking about when it comes to conflict, we're not talking about abuse. We're just talking about conflict in, conflict in its like most nutshell type of definition is you have a need, I have a different need. How are we going to compromise? How are we going to have a conflict resolution? What's going to be the end goal? How are we going to express our need? Some people don't know how to express their need. That's a whole other topic. They don't know how to just say, I need blank. They don't know like so what is it that you want? Some people don't know how to do that. And some people need the tools there's communication skills. But yeah, for those who are sticklers with those phrases, I think the same thing. Conflict is okay in marriage. remember saying this the other day to someone. It doesn't really matter how much conflict you have in a marriage, as long as you can repair, get the bounce back, going back to secure attachment. Okay, you guys got a disagreement on the groceries or this and that, what we're going to do for the weekend, got a little heated, but quickly you can repair. Hey, we're going to be okay. You got back to that baseline. That's the secure attachment. So kind of like circling back to that.
That's good. That's good. Did we cover all the attachment styles? I think we did, right?
I think so.
All right. So we got secure attachment, anxious attachment, avoidant attachment, and disorganized attachment. I think we did. So like I said in the beginning, most people don't fit perfectly into one category or the other. There's usually a little bit of a mix. I don't know if you wanted to make a comment about that or add to that, Priscilla.
No, I agree. I think maybe depending, like, this is why I'm happy we're talking about this. Now that you guys have your eyes open, you're going to see this everywhere. You're going to notice, like, okay, the way I attach to my dad is a little bit different than the way I attach to my coworker. It's a little bit different than I attach to a pastor. So, you might be more withdrawn with this scenario. You might be more clingy in another scenario.
That's good.
Either or, it's good to be aware. Bring up that self-awareness and pray, Lord God, help me with my self-awareness so I can start seeing this in my life.
So good. And the truth is, attachment can shift depending on the relationship you're in. Like you said, if you're a relationship with a pastor or a relationship with a friend or somebody from school or whatever the case is. And it also depends on the season you're in. Every season has a different thing. It comes with its different type of, situations. All right. So which of these patterns, Priscilla, this is a question I'm going to throw at you. Which of these patterns do you see clients recognize themselves in the fastest and why?
I think withdrawn.
Okay, tell me more about that.
I think withdrawn because it's interesting. Those who are anxious attachment, they usually defend it. So that one's hard. They're like, no, this is normal. Every relationship should be this close. And then they give me the comparisons. My cousin's relationship, they go together every year. So they don't.
I could feel heat just like rising up like from my belly as you're because I've sat with clients like that and you're just like, what is going on? Like, oh my gosh. Okay, go on.
And again, with Instagram and TikTok and all these things that do show love bombing gestures, oh my gosh, Valentine is around the corner. You're going to see these huge gifts and we're always together. That person, they think it's normal. I think they need a little bit more unpacking to do. I think the withdrawn person could see it faster because usually physically they withdraw as well. Physically, they're like, I'm going to do more overtime this week. I don't really want to be home. I think they
run.
And they run. I think it's a little bit more behavioral.
That's good. That's good. And I think another piece too, because I know you mentioned social media. I feel that a lot, there's not a lot, but there's many people who think that they know their attachment style because again, it's been popularized on social media. You'll see it everywhere. And they're taking these little quizzes. That's my favorite. They take these quizzes and they're like, I'm secure attachment, or I know I'm disorganized attachment. And really that's like as far as it goes is just the labeling. And what ends up happening is despite them knowing which category they fit into, they end up reacting the same way in relationships. So why would you say that just the knowledge or the awareness of knowing which category you fit into, why that doesn't translate into automatic change for that person's relationships?
I think it's the difference of knowledge and wisdom. How many people do we know that are super book smart? And they're not that successful or they're not really healthy. I could know everything about a specific diet or like exercise regimens, but if I'm not applying it, I just have all this knowledge. And I think a lot of our generation, a lot of our world, that's where a lot of us are now, especially now you got ChatGPT. So I'm sure people could be like, oh, I don't have to take like an official test, or I could just ask, 3 questions and I could know if I have this thing. I mean, people are going to ChatGPT for therapy now. Wild. But I hope people know it's an algorithm. Like you are training even that thing to tell you. I don't know if people get this. You train even your Instagram feed on what you want to see. So knowledge, you could be filled with all the knowledge and still not make wise decisions. So you need the piece of the now what? Okay, I found out I'm disorganized. Now what? Are you going to run with that and just go, I'm just disorganized, guys?
Oh, that's so good.
Who I am. Or are you going to take it and learn? Because what we said earlier on is you can get to secure attachment. You don't have to stay there. This doesn't have to be your label. Yeah, so I'm glad we're talking about this.
Yeah. And I think I love how you said that people will take that on as an identity. Oh, I took a little quiz and I'm disorganized attached. Like, that's just how I am. That's just how I function. And they use it as a description of just how they think that they are, right? So they can get into an argument with a spouse or somebody and say, well, that's just how I am, right? This person just said, now, yes, now what? I'm gonna answer that question in just a second. That's a great question. So anyway, so again, they use it as a label and they don't go any further with it. So I think it's important that, and this is what I was going to say before. They don't go anywhere with it. And now the big thing too is ChatGPT. Let me just talk to ChatGPT about my attachment style. Let me learn about my attachment style through ChatGPT. ChatGPT will only get you but so far, right? Versus sitting with a live therapist, and not just any therapist. And of course, anybody who's attended any of my master classes, I will always make a distinction when I say therapist, because people think, oh, a therapist, let me go through my insurance. Let me see which therapist I can find. That's not what I'm talking about. When I say therapist, I'm talking about Holy Spirit filled therapist who has the clinical education and knowledge, but also the wisdom of the Holy Spirit. When you have that powerhouse combination, this is somebody who's not only going to help you get to secure attachment, but is going to help you learn so much along the way that you become such a sharp person, such a wise person, and that you really understand the design that God has for you as a person, your personality, your functioning, your thinking, because everybody's different, right? So somebody who's avoidant attachment, that's a person that has a specific kind of need, and because that need's not being met, or because they learned how to survive with their nervous system in a maladaptive way, like a dysfunctional way, they have attached to disorganized attachment type behaviors. But at the core, there's still a need. They still need something, right? Because God designed them a certain way. So a Holy Spirit filled counselor is going to help them to figure out, okay, how do we satisfy those needs, but in a healthy way, right? Where you're not fitting into the category of disorganized attachment. So again, this is such a great conversation. And really, ultimately, the reason why we're having this conversation, and Priscilla, obviously, I'm thankful that you agreed to do this, and I'm so glad we got to do it, was because Priscilla is actually running a group, and it's called Attachment Blueprint. And this is just like a little appetizer of what's going to be discussed in this group. In this group, Priscilla is really going to just slow down this information. She's going to give it to you in a way that's going to help you understand each one of these categories in a way that you can really plug yourself into them. And then what she's going to do is she's going to help you work your way out of those by using new responses. She's going to give you tools. She's going to help you change these patterns over time. And that's really the whole purpose of that group. It's the whole function of that group. So what I'll say is that if one of these, actually, you could throw it in the chat. If you felt like one of these styles, one of these attachment styles felt very fitting, or even just like a little bit familiar, where you're like, that one sounds a little like me, I want you to drop a little fire emoji in the chat, because we want to see who felt that they kind of connected with this. And then what I want you to do is, if you did feel that it was familiar, if you did relate to some of these, I want you to go to the link in my bio. And Priscilla, I don't know if you have the group in your link in your bio.
I gotta put it there.
If not, that's okay. DM one of us, DM Priscilla, DM me, and we'll send you the link for the group. You can go and findmyselah.com. I see a fire emoji. Oh, that's okay. If you just got here, we're going to be reposting this so you guys could watch it later. So you could put findmyselah.com/groups. Then look for Priscilla's group. It's the Attachment Blueprint. And if you don't remember the name, that's totally fine. You could just read the, her name is on there. So Attachment Blueprint, and you could sign up there. So what I'll say is, you don't need to be sure about your attachment style. You could be like, I'm not really sure where I fit into this. All you need is curiosity. If you're curious, if you want to learn more about yourself, if you really want to understand the true design that God has for you, this group is for you. And we want you to, sorry, I heard my husband running up the stairs and I was like, what just happened? Anyway, so this group is for you. What did I say? Oh, I gave you guys the wrong website. I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. Guys, what time is it? 9:51. I'm still 2 months postpartum, so give me some grace. So it's findyourselah.com groups. I'm so sorry, guys. I just made up a whole website. Anyway, so like I said, sign up for that. All you need is curiosity to know more about yourself and really know the true design God has for your life, your personality, your attachment. And just, it's not about figuring out like what's wrong with me, right? It's not about that. It's really about figuring out what your nervous system learned to survive and then how to relearn a better way. That's the whole purpose of this group. So,
and just to add, just to put this into more perspective, our brains are neuroplastic.
That's good.
It can be molded. And I just think that's all Bible, because the Bible speaks about being transformed in the mind. So it's not just theological, it's also neurological. Like God is so awesome that he says it to us in his word, and science is actually echoing that. So if anyone is like, I don't know if I could really change, I feel like I'm really strong the disorganized, or I'm really strong the anxious. We have seen, I know I've seen clients go from really thick disorganized go to secure. It happens.
It's so beautiful.
Yes, it happens. We've seen testimony of this. We've lived this out. Or withdrawal, or the anxious attachment, or the little bit of each one in different relationships. It's helpful. It can happen. I hope everybody feels that hope of like, oh wow, if that's happened to other people, it can happen to me too.
That's 100%. We have so many, Priscilla, I can think of so many testimonies that we have of clients that have gone from these, attachment styles that weren't healthy to healthy. So it is possible. And in this group setting, the beautiful thing is that it's over the course of 5 weeks. So you have time in between to learn, to study, to get really familiar with these things. And it's a great place to be. So I encourage you guys to sign up. I pinned the website there. Make sure you write it down. And if you don't write it down, then feel free to message Priscilla or I, and we'll send you the link. But we want to see your names in our registration box. So thank you again, Priscilla. This was such a great time. I love doing lives with you. It's always so fun. And the brain sparks just go off. We're like, oh my goodness, so it's always a lot of fun. And I pray everybody who watched live or is watching a little bit later on really receive something from this little group appetizer that we gave.
Oh, good appetizer.
Group appetizer. Everyone have a wonderful night, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.